I want you to send this video to anybody who can't understand why teachers are crashing out and quitting.
I'm gonna say it because it ain't enough people saying it. Some of y'all send them kids to school because you just need a break from their ass. But you don't worry about the hell that they're causing these teachers.
So I'm physically leaving education and not coming back because I physically can't do it no more.
There is a big epidemic right now with teachers just quitting. And the school systems in most parts of America are in the dumpster. Okay, complete dumpster fire. And I wonder why that is. And I want to hear your comments down below. Because teachers have had enough with the no discipline, the change in curriculums, these good idea fairies, and then the budgets and just not being paid enough. I want to get to the bottom of this. I'm giving my opinion. And I want your comments down below. Let's go.
Do you honestly believe that these teachers are quitting their job 2 weeks into the school year because they're not getting paid enough, or because the politics that they're dealing with from outside of the classroom is too much to handle? No, that's not the reason. The reason why they're quitting is because these kids are mean. And they're making the classroom a war zone, and they're getting zero support from parents at home and from admin on their campus. This 100% stems from the stuff that they have to deal with day in and day out from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. inside their classroom. It's the stuff that you have to deal with inside your classroom that makes you burn out and makes you never want to come back. I understand that so many of our kids are dealing with rough lives at home and are dealing with trauma, dealing with mental illness, dealing with learning disabilities. All of those things make it difficult to thrive in school, and I understand that. But the problem is that all of those things are no reason to treat other human beings like a piece of garbage. Regardless of your opinion of teachers, most teachers that I know wake up every single day excited to teach whatever lesson that they've spent hours planning and creating, and they want to have a meaningful experience with the students in their classroom. They want to have a good day. And I know, speaking for myself, I woke up every day praying that it was going to be a good day, praying that the kids that I had that day were going to be as excited about the content that I was ready to present as much as I was. And most days, that is not what I got met with. On the daily, teachers are getting cussed out, spit on, hit, flipped off. Their equipment is getting broken and stolen. There are bullies in class that are relentless, not just to their own fellow students, but to the adult in the room. Imagine if you had to deal with that at your job. I'm speaking to non-teachers right now, right? You would not put up with that. You would stay somewhere where you were treated with respect and you knew that you were safe in your work environment. If someone came every single day to your job, bullied you, hit you, cussed you out, rolled their eyes at you, treated you like you were nothing, like you were garbage, you wouldn't want to come back either. You would put in your 2 weeks notice. But for some reason, so many people believe that we signed up for that, because that's a part of teaching, and that's just how kids are. I made the decision not to return to the classroom this year, and I haven't been in a classroom for months now, and I still have nightmares, trauma nightmares on a weekly basis about my former classroom.
What do you think about this? Comments down below. I respect teachers so much. I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for a handful of teachers that taught me and mentored me over the years, especially for the young children that don't have mentorship. Huge. But what is the admin supposed to do? The people are forced to send their kids to these public schools. The kids don't want to be there. And it doesn't seem like they can kick them out. Like, should they be forced out of the system? You know, like if they are a habitual offender, if they're violent, if they're mean. I know this, that when I got to the Army, most of the officers around me were Ivy League grads. And I was behind the curve in my writing skills, even in college, because I went to a school that was constantly disrupted with bad kids. I mean, the worst of the worst. And it kept me from being where I should be because the class was held back by these constant interruptions. What do you think about that? And I know it's tough for teachers. It's gotta be, especially when they're forced to pass people.
And my former students. And yes, it is a parent and an admin problem just as much as it is a kid problem, because
I think that's it. there's also a parent problem. We're at this part in our society where it seems like parenting is taking a back seat to so many distractions in the world. And I see it with some of the people I know that, I mean, you can just see it in what kind of lunch they send their kid to school with. Like, you know, is it an instant meal, or is it a handmade meal that the mom took very much time and effort on? Or do they even just respond to the teacher's emails, you know, or just the basic, you know, correspondence letters the parent sends home with the kids? I mean, how involved is the parents in the children's life?
The difference between now and 20 years ago even is that 20 years ago, when you would have a kid cuss you out, hit you, smack other kids, ruin your property, steal things off of your desk, there was going to be somebody on campus that was going to back you up and find a solution. But now that's not the case. Suspensions are down because
I remember the school resource officer would have been in there in a heartbeat throwing somebody upside down, or there was an old drill sergeant somewhere that said, hey bud, you're going to deflate your chest right now. You're not going to talk to Miss So-and-so that way. Have some respect. But with all these school, you know, instances where these schools are getting, you know what, I don't want to say it here on YouTube, like the world has changed. And it's like schools are afraid to discipline kids, administrators are afraid to discipline kids, and what do we have? We have a war zone.
they want those numbers down. They want to look good. They're not suspending kids for getting in fights and being violent in the classroom anymore. It's just not happening. Even in the early 2000s and 2010s when I started my career, I was assured that if I called a parent to tell them about what was going on in my classroom with their child, they were most definitely going to say, I am so sorry, do what you need to do. I'll talk to them when they get home.
I know, I was afraid for my dad to hear it, to disappoint my dad because I was disrespectful to the teacher. That would have not happened. I would have hid under the house before my dad heard something like that about me. Like, the thought of that.
I want you to send this video to anybody who can't understand why teachers are crashing out and quitting. I mean, they get their summers off, so like, what do they really have to complain about?
Listen to what she has to
I have
say.
brought visual aids. Here we go. So everything I show you on this green clipboard is going to represent when I started teaching in 2005, and everything on this red clipboard is 2025. I did not teach the full 20 years. I took 7 years off because I had children and my husband's in the military. We moved a lot. Here we go. These are actual seating charts that I found as I was cleaning out my desk today. So this represents the year 2005, and this is how many of my students are reading on grade level. Everything in blue. So I got 1.5 students out of like a group are struggling readers, but pretty much everybody's reading at least on level, some even higher, okay? 2025. How many of my students are reading on grade level? Okay, this next is an average of how many of my students failed my class. Like, they are going to have to repeat this. There's no recovering. They failed. This is 2005. 0.5 student out of all of my students. This is this year. This is this year.
I wonder how much higher it would be if students were truly allowed to fail and you really pushed the grade level. I'd probably be half the class, because you know they're not going to fail half the class because that school would not get funding anymore. No principal would probably still have a job if half the class failed, but that's probably about where it should be because the kids are going to go to the next grade and the next grade behind.
On average, I teach about 100 students. On average, this is how many students in each class are not passing. They're going to have to take this class again. Okay, next, the orange represents in 2005, parent involvement. I always had parents either in my inbox asking about lessons, volunteering for field trips, or anything that we needed for our classroom, volunteering supplies. 2005, 2025. Where are the parents that are supposed to be involved in their school? Behavior issues. Students in 2005 that I had to like write up on referrals, call home, maybe have parent-teacher conferences for poor behavior. Out of a whole classroom, there was always like at least one bad apple, okay? 2025. Put your cell phone away. Why are you showing up to my class
Cell
15
phones.
minutes
Cell
late?
phones.
Don't talk to me like that. Don't call them the N-word. You know, if there's anything that being a teacher has taught me, it's analyzing data and trends. And I just don't like the current trends. So that is why you are seeing teachers leaving like in a mass exodus, just in.
I mean, what do you think? I think it's a mixture of a lot of things: distractions, cell phones, change in our social dynamic, single parent households, fathers missing. A lot of issues here, a lot of issues, and it's sad to hear this is really becoming a thing. You know, my platoon in Iraq was majority kids from bad situations that joined the Army. Most of them, the demographics were largely African American, Hispanic. Some of them were some really rough kids. But you know what? When they got to the Army and they found that first NCO that was a father figure that was dressed tight and looking good, it was something that happened to them. They wanted to be just like him. They saw the mentorship of a man showing them what they needed to be. And it was like a light bulb went off in their head that they finally had a good star destination to look like, to be like. And it was amazing to watch that happen when they finally got that mentorship of that first senior non-commissioned officer. It was very interesting. Like my first platoon sergeant, Sergeant Freeman, he was an amazing role model for these young men. From a troublesome background, you have a kid with no direction, sees direction, it goes together, and it's like all of a sudden a light just turns on, you know, and it's tough. But in the military, they have full authority over that person. They can discipline them. They can take their time, their money. They can take them out in the backyard and dust them off, make them do push-ups until the cows come home, okay? There's so many things that a non-commissioned officer can do to help the education and development of a young person that a teacher is not allowed to in a civilian society. And I wonder, like, where do we fall there? Like, I don't believe too much in the corporate punishment of children, but when there's no punishment at home where they would have gotten it, what is the state to do? And I feel like it's almost like you got to just separate them from the system and let the good kids go to school, because but then what do you do with those kids? It's such a complex topic.
Teachers are not underpaid. A lot of them just have this really weird complex where they think that they are owed a lot more than they are for the amount of work that they do.
Have you ever been called the B word by a 10-year-old, Bethany? Better yet, have you ever been called a C word by a 10-year-old, Bethany? And then have to proceed to say, oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way, friend. Have you ever been in a classroom with 25 students that have crippling ADHD, munching on Red 40 and Mountain Dew? Bethany? No? Okay. Have you ever been tackled? Tackled! Have you ever been tackled by a 10-year-old, Bethany? Physically assaulted by a 10-year-old, Bethany? And then have to continue to show up and be kind and teach that 10-year-old every day for the rest of the school year? Bethany? Do you take 15,000 steps every day at your job because if you sit down, bad things happen? Bethany? Can you not go to the restroom at your work? Bethany? Do you only have 10 minutes for your lunch, so you're starving most days? Bethany? Okay, I need to stop with the Bethany. I'm getting annoyed by it. It is so funny because I just know if that woman were to walk into my classroom, it would be game over in about 5 minutes. And I'm gonna stop myself so I don't get mean, because that's not the point of this. And to be honest, if you do your teaching job as is, like you don't work outside contract hours, you don't do anything extra, you don't go above and beyond, you just take it for what it is, then maybe you have some legitimacy to your argument. But I don't know one single teacher that just does the job as is. The amount of extra work that we put in, the amount of unpaid time that we work, just the emotional and physical toll that teaching takes. Yeah, we're extremely underpaid, Bethany. Me, it's just honestly a weird take, because wouldn't you want to pay the people who are taking care of your children the most amount of money possible? The people who are pouring in and teaching your children how to be successful? Don't you think that's pretty valuable? I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm weird for caring about children and caring about our future generation.
So I'm physically leaving education and not coming back because I physically can't do it no more. I can't. I actually start sweating. My heart starts flooding really fast with the thought of me having to decorate a classroom next year, or even having to step foot in a school next year. And mark my words when I say this. So get this timestamp and look at this video. When I leave, I am never, ever coming back. I can't do it. I physically cannot be a teacher anymore. And I'm okay with that because I gave this profession everything that I did and everything that I wanted to give. And I am not going to be forced out of it anymore. I'm not going to be forced out of any career anymore. Job longevity has always been something that I preach. And I can't work in a profession that doesn't value my existence as a human being. I get that every day ain't gonna be peaches and rainbows. It's me, I'm about to tear up. But it's like, I'm a human. And education feels demoralizing. It does. I don't know how we do this, y'all, but I gotta go or I'm gonna be going somewhere in grippy socks. And that's not happening. So I'm done with this. We can wrap this up.
You know, it has been so eye-opening researching this video, watching these stories, these testimonies. I don't know where we're going to be if we don't have role models, strong men and women that step up and mentor the next group of humans. It's like we would have full chaos in our society. It's going to be very interesting how we solve this situation unless we just put AI up there at the front of the classroom and allow Jarvis to just teach a subject. I mean, like, I've been seeing some very interesting videos that are full AI generated. Heck, I sat through a seminar the other day that was completely AI generated video telling us the subject. Is that the future? But I don't know how you solve the problem of discipline and integrity and learning and social dynamics of high school and middle school without that teacher. I mean, I look back on all my teachers that I had and I think about, man, remember when Miss So-and-so told me this? I still remember it today. You know, I remember my high school coaches, my high school professors or teachers, my college professors, my college baseball coach. I still remember that guy. And the things he said to me echoed to me in Iraq when I was out there on those long roads. You know, like, this stuff is important, everybody.
I'm going to say it because it ain't enough people saying it. Some of y'all send them kids to school because you just need a break from their ass, but you don't worry about the hell that they're causing these teachers. You taught them kids how to cuss, twerk, and talk back, but you forgot to teach them how to sit down, shut up, and listen. Some of these kids know every TikTok dance there is, but don't know how to raise their hand before they speak. And then when the teacher reaches out to the parent to try to get some assistance for this mini menace, you got to issue and make every excuse in the book for why your child is acting up. That's not ADHD, ma'am. That's ain't no damn training. I seen a mother kid tell a teacher, my mama said you can't tell me what to do. She can't tell you what to do, and that's the fucking problem. Can you imagine being a teacher and before you can even teach academics, you got to teach basic manners to these unruly ass children, and then you have to deal with a parent who gets offensive about you telling them about their child. Ma'am, your daughter is not expressive. She's just disrespectful, okay? So please, just try to give a little bit more consideration to these teachers and support them when they need it. Remember that these are your kids, not theirs. So for them to make it their job to try to teach your child some shit, should not have to go through none of the bullshit. Me personally, I couldn't be nobody's teacher because one, I don't have to, and I'm flipping the fucking before they can finish their sentence. You sure the fuck don't have to, and I don't either.
Well said. I mean, what is the end result of this? Especially high school. In a couple of years, you're out in society dealing with adults that aren't going to put up with your stuff. They're just going to fire you, ostracize you, push you out, take advantage of you. What I used to see them when they would come to the military, and they don't know how to stand with respect. They would talk to their superiors without a notepad in their hand, without a pen, without the ability to think on their feet, be respectful, be able to take orders, be able to like think their way through a problem. Like, how are they supposed to survive at the next step in life? How are they supposed to work well with their spouse? How are they supposed to feed themselves? Are we raising an entire generation of people that are not going to be able to feed themselves because we don't respect our teachers? We don't try to learn. The things you know and learn in this life is a great summation of your net worth, your production in the future. If you don't know anything, You can't do anything. You can't produce anything if you don't know anything. You have to learn how to read. You have to learn how to learn from other people. You have to have social intelligence. You got to have IQ and EQ. You've got to learn from others. You got to seek out mentors. You got to read books. You got to learn things or you're not going to survive in this world. And in high school and in school, you can coddle them. But when they get in the real world, those are the ones that are going to wind up on all these social programs.
I did the literal fucking math after taxes, how much I make hourly. I did the math, how much I make hourly as a substitute teacher after taxes. Are you ready? Each day, I make $8.70 per hour after taxes. $8. I make $1 over minimum wage.
Now that I am no longer a teacher, thank God, I can finally say the things that have been on my mind all school year. Okay? As somebody that taught high school and basically educating our new young adults, we should all be scared. Every last one of us should be scared. These kids cannot read. They cannot write. There is no type of comprehension skills, no type of critical thinking. They cannot do anything on their own. They expect everything to be taught to them. Well, I won't even say taught. They expect everything to be given to them. So in my class, we did this thing where I made them write once a week. So they would have some type of assignment where they would have to write at least a paragraph, meaning 5 sentences. 5 sentences. The amount of assignments that I got in with 1 sentence, 2 sentences, the amount of complaints I got with the whole 5 sentences, that's too much. Can we do 3? Isn't 3 considered a paragraph? Oh, baby. We are in for a wild ride, y'all.
Imagine having an employee and you're like, hey, I need you to go write this memorandum for me. And I need it to be, long enough, but not too long. And I need it to sound good. And I need you to get this back to me in 35 minutes. And you got a lot staking on this. Like, let's say a company's moving out to the field or you're in a combat operation and you're like, hey, I need you to just go write this memorandum. Come right back to me. And they're like, well, I did 2 sentences, sir. And you're like, wait a minute, I told you to write a memorandum. This thing needs to be 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, maybe a full page. And they're like, yeah, you didn't tell me that. And they did the bare minimum. Can you imagine how mad you are? You can't find anybody to do work. You can't find anybody to do a good job. Then they want all these benefits, and then they're sick half the time. And every time you turn around, you're looking for them or they're on their phone. And this is the future employees of America that you're dealing with basic minimum stuff, and they don't want to do it. Are they just going to be replaced by AI? Maybe.
Assignment that I gave them, I kid y'all not. Every assignment that I gave them, there was several students that came to my desk and asked me to walk them through the entire assignment. The whole thing. But genuinely, the truth of the matter is everybody is failing these kids. Everybody. The school board with all these different rules, they're failing these kids. The principals or admin altogether, they're failing these kids, and they're failing the teachers because they're basically telling us that we had to just pass a child along just to keep these graduation numbers up.
That's true. And I think that's the problem right now. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be a grind. I remember trying to pass high school, college. I didn't even know how to study when I got to college because high school wasn't hard. Like, it had to be hard in order for you to possess the skills to be successful at the next level. And whether it's college or whether it's the real world. There was many nights I had to read an entire book in one night and be some type of subject matter expert the next morning, okay? When you're in the military or you're an entrepreneur or it might be going in for a deposition or something that you have to be somewhat of educated on by the next morning or 2 days later, or something in real life like your heat goes out and you've got to learn how to plumb gas by 3 o'clock the next morning. Happened to me. Go get your permit. Go watch a couple of YouTube videos. Go and fix the gas in your house because your family's cold, or your lights go out in your house and you've got to go learn the electrical code in a day and a half. Go get your permits. Go fix that outlet because you couldn't get an electrician to come and show up at your house because it was the middle of the pandemic. There are many times that you need to know a subject ASAP or you do without. And I remember I passed the real estate exam in a handful of days. I just literally grabbed the book, read it as fast as I could, went, passed the test, went and sat for the state exam. Okay? And within a week, I was ready to sell real estate. As soon as my paperwork came back, the state's the only thing that slowed me down. There's many times that you must know how to do things. And the education system is supposed to set us up for that. And if we do not allow the educators to do their job and we have this admin that doesn't support the educator, we're going to have a problem. So what do you think about this? Comments down below. Am I right? Am I wrong? I'd love to hear from you. Maybe there's somebody in the comment section that can change an educator's mind of not quitting, or maybe they don't want to get into it now because they've seen these videos, or maybe there's an admin out there or a politician that can fix this. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. On to the next one.